What is up, guys? Welcome to the Nutrigen podcast. If you guys have watched any of our stuff before, I'm talking about Corey. If you want to say hello first, Corey.
Hey, how's it going?
I decided to intro you
I
there.
know, I was like, hey, I'm Corey.
But yeah, so if you guys know our past stuff, you'll know what Neutrogen is. And before it was a Last Airbender podcast, but instead we are deciding to change it to a gaming podcast, which I feel like we've always wanted to do. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of experimented a little bit with it in the past.
Yeah, we've always had like certain times where like let's just get on and talk, but this time around we're trying to be a little more scheduled, a little more structured, and uh, and this is going from how long the videos are going to be or the podcasts are going to be, which is going to be up to about an hour ish. We don't want to go too far, at least early on, and it'll be every other week. And this is because this is kind of a testing period, I'd say, for us
What
because we're not the greatest at it. I mean, like we
are
said,
you talking about?
we've started these like previously we've done podcasts and they ended up just being us talking, but they were always meant to be a series of podcasts, but
Never
yeah,
panned out.
not really. So
Or like last time, just, doesn't record for 3 hours. Oh, well.
I don't think it was 3 hours, maybe two.
Okay, exaggerating's fun, though.
That's true. It makes the point come across a little better.
Yeah,
So yeah, I just kind of want to talk about what this was and then get into the podcast now. You up? You ready for it, Corey?
I, I am ready.
So first up, we have our headlines, which is just a quick rundown of all the news stories that we cared about, but not necessarily have a lot of things to talk about. First off, we have Amy Hennig, creative director and writer of the Uncharted series, has left Naughty Dog. Corey, are you still interested in the Uncharted series with her gone?
Well, I mean, I didn't know who she was before this announcement, so, I mean, she's the creative director, so she obviously had a lot of influence there. Also, having a woman in leadership kind of gives games a unique perspective because it's not that common still. It's more so now than ever, but it's still not that big. For me, Uncharted, I didn't even play the third one because I was just kind of burnt out on it. But I mean, if they came out with the next gen, I mean, which they are, just the visuals, just because that type of game has a world that's just perfect to push next gen graphics. So I mean, I think that's gonna pull me in. So I'll probably just watch like, the ending scene of Uncharted 3 on YouTube kind of thing. Because I don't know, I wasn't interested in playing in the third one. Have you played any of them?
No, I have Uncharted 3. I've watched one. I watched one through. I watched all of them, but I've not played
Okay,
them.
it's funny.
I got the PS3 last year, so
Nice. So Notch confirms that there's a Minecraft movie in development at Warner Brothers. Um, there's not a lot of detail, but would you be interested in a Minecraft film?
honestly, not really. I mean, it Minecraft is really not like it, there's some parts where if you go to like high mountains and stuff, like it'd be kind of cool to look at them, but in the end, it's just I know graphics aren't everything, but it's that would be just a weird movie to look at. I mean, maybe the since the Lego movie apparently is pretty good, I never watched it, but maybe it can work. I mean, who knows?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is after watching the Lego thing, which was really good, I'm kind of like, well, if they can make that work, then they can probably make this work. They'll obviously need to, embellish on the universe, add more characters. Since the player character is really the only human character in it, that's kind of boring. So I'm sure they'll flesh it out, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah. So next we have Rocksteady announces Arkham Knight, the final chapter of the Arkham series. Would you play another Batman game by Rocksteady? Because I have not played
Um,
them.
well, you can drive a car in this one. You can drive the Batmobile. So, yes. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked. I keep wanting to say Arkham Horror because I also have a board game called Arkham Horror. Arkham
Asylum.
Asylum. I really liked Asylum because the some games linearity actually is good. Like it gave it a really focused story. It kind of helped with like the noir, detective side of Batman. Like in the films, you don't really see the detective side of Batman. It's just the butt kicking Batman. It's Detective Comics is how he started. So it's kind of cool to see that side of Batman that I didn't see before. But then Arkham City, it just kind of lost focus for me, and I kind of went around the city and got bored and stopped playing it. So I guess if they focus the world a little bit, or at least make the open world more interesting, because when it was all just villains running around, I don't know, I didn't find it interesting for whatever reason, even though I loved the first game a lot.
Yeah, singular. I feel like there's a lot of benefit to having a very almost not it doesn't have to necessarily be linear, but just having a story that actually does progress without being open isn't always a great thing, especially if, like you said, if the world is not as interesting. And DC Comics, there's already a lot of ways to find a good Batman world or get involved in the world that, yeah, I can definitely see someone getting tired of it. I've watched some of it, but it's just never a game that has appealed to me.
So after 16 days of anarchy and democracy, Twitch has finally beat Pokemon Red. Um, Next up is Generation 2. Ryan told me to say that. I'm not a Pokemon person. I don't even know what that
I
means.
wrote that because that's what happened.
I know. I thought it'd be funny to read it. So would you man, I can't talk today. Um, Out of all the games you could see played on Twitch using a community-driven system where everyone votes on what the character does, what game would you want to see on Twitch?
Uh, I wrote this question not knowing what the answer.
Nice.
Uh, I mean, I've read their channel. They talk about they want to do other games with this, but like they said, Pokemon is just perfect because it's not timing based. It's just all about moving up, down, left, right, and everything pauses. Like you're never in this time of like, oh my gosh, we're dying. We have to stop this as quickly as you can. So Pokemon has always been perfect. I'm sure they probably will go through each one. I wouldn't doubt, just because it's everyone loves Pokemon. That's probably the biggest reason it's so big. While it's a very cool community like test kind of thing experiment, it's probably would not be nearly as big if it wasn't playing every gamer the age my age their childhood basically.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely true. If they were playing Analog, a game of hate or whatever that thing's called, the visual novel game, not nearly as many people would be on there watching.
Yeah.
I I know it'd be completely broken, but I'd love to see what like a first-person shooter would look like with people playing it. Maybe make it where they're like the character where you're playing as is invincible or something. But just the idea of like WASD, mouse click left. I don't even know how it'd work, but just that idea of a full 3D game using that would just be another type of crazy. It would be completely broken, but I still want to see it. You know what I mean? If someone's announced that, oh, someone's playing Half-Life 2 on Twitch using chat, I would go and watch it just to see the disaster. You know what I mean?
I actually think they have a Twitch plays like Street Fighter,
Oh, really?
but instead of actually having to do the actions, they just say like, "Oh, Fireball is
Oh,
this word or whatever."
huh.
So I mean, it's definitely possible. Like you can, I was thinking of like a platformer like Mario. You could just have it
Hmm.
where instead of maybe he always runs right or something like that. I don't know, something like that.
Maybe basically make Mario an endless runner.
Yeah. Dishonored 2 logo was seemingly leaked. I don't know
Dun
where
dun
this came
dun.
from, but just someone on Twitter posted it. I think they're a Twitter that does a lot of kind of
Well,
those
it's
pre-game
got to be
things.
legit if it's on Twitter.
Yeah, but they said I think it said Dishonored 2 something something. I didn't write that down. Darkness of Tivia.
Okay.
Uh, I haven't played Dishonored 1, so Corey, how do you feel about this game, basically?
I'm definitely interested in it. The story was definitely the weakest part of Dishonored. I still liked it. Like a lot of the characters are interesting, but kind of the payoffs later in the game were kind of cheap. Also one of those games where it's like, oh, the decisions you make matter, and it'll really change things. And there's just like two endings. It's like good ending, bad ending, or actually, I think there was a little bit more than that, but it was like slightly less bad ending and slightly better ending. I don't know. I thought that stuff was kind of dumb, and kind of didn't really make sense. Because the basic idea is that there's this girl you're protecting who's going to become queen someday, and if you do bad things, then she becomes more bad. It's like, well, that's not how real life works. A kid doesn't become bad because, and you're doing it all in secret too, is the weirder thing. So it's like she's finding out somehow that you're doing these bad things on the missions. But I'm still interested in a sequel. I just hope they spend more time developing the story, like the world itself. I've heard a lot of people say this, like the world itself was a lot more interesting, like the whaling that they do for the the tar. What is it called? Used from whales, the like oil stuff. They use that to power everything. I'm blanking on the stupid word for that stuff. They use it to power everything. So the world was really fascinating. And it's interesting. I know the Thief just came out recently, and it was critically panned. So I'm wondering if that'll affect how people view this game, because there is some crossover between. It's not the same developer, but I think like it's the same publisher or something. Because like when I saw the Thief trailer, I was like, that looks a lot like Dishonored. Like even just the radial menus and how all that stuff worked. So I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Do you want them to continue the like stealth? Because it was supposed to be one of those games that you can play both stealth or non-stealth, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like the balance of like you stealth around until you get either impatient or spotted, and then you just all right, never mind, I'm just gonna kill everyone, and it gave you the tools to actually do that. So I like that because I remember I would always get frustrated with older stealth games where it's like, oh, you're spotted, start over. I always hated that. And this, at least, like even if you don't want to fight, you can still use their blink ability to just hide and get away. So, yeah, I still want a stealth game, but definitely try to make it better, like make stealth more feasible, and also make it where like the 2D stealth game. What was that one called?
Mark of the Ninja.
Yeah, I wish they would incorporate more stuff like that, where it kind of lets you know, like, okay, you're hidden. Here's where they can see, give you more information to work with.
Yeah.
So there were indie games were just announced for Xbox One. You want to elaborate on that, Ryan?
So I actually don't know much about this, to be honest, but
I was gonna say,
uh,
'cause I have no idea what this means as far as like, because on Xbox 360 there was like the indie arcade, right, where kind of anyone could just post like really crappy, like duck-based MMOs and weird Japanese fantasy games, and like it was really weird. So I don't know if it's that
so
or
it's
what.
it's like an actual like kind of program that they're trying to do, I believe, that are trying to get like the indie side growing on their side again, and it's not necessarily just the random flash games that you'd see on Newgrounds, but they have real developers that have also made their own independent games that are very good, like Dust and all the other random ones that were on 360 before and stuff like that. I think even Double Fine was a name that was in the article, and it's a specific program called ID at Xbox or idX at Xbox. I don't know exactly what it was. I started reading the article, and I wasn't 100% sure what it was or what it meant, but I'm pretty sure what it just means is like it was some kind of uh, push to get all these smaller developers to create things for the Xbox One.
Yeah,
And
I
I think that's a really good thing because like I know I've never been a huge proponent of indie games, or I don't know if you want to whatever you want to call them, the better indie games, but there are definitely a lot of good things and a lot of good ideas come from them. And
yeah.
even if they're not always 100% complete to me, that kind of doesn't like maybe it has a good gameplay aspect or story aspect, but something about it seems off because maybe they concentrated very hard on it in comparison to the other things. But it's always good to have these smaller places that can kind of put out things, and so that these bigger titles can go, oh, that's a good idea, why don't we have this into our game, and just it continually evolves basically.
Yeah, I mean, one way they could trick me into buying Xbox is if they got, people who make Towerfall style games on Xbox One for the indie stuff. That would honestly get me there before Titanfall or a new Halo game Like I am more interested in the indie games personally. But I mean, the problem is most of them, even if they're doing it for Xbox One, they're going to do it for PC too. So I don't know unless they lock them up on Xbox. I don't know what how their agreements work.
Yeah, I don't know what the like I said, I don't know what the program or the push or whatever you want to call it exactly is. It's things about giving dev kits, and I think this is not only just big, or not big teams, but not already established teams that have created games, but also people like me and you that can maybe that know enough that can maybe want to create a game. I think maybe you can be a part of it, but I really don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
That's all the headlines for today, or for this past few weeks, I guess, because it's not just today. And so we're gonna settle down with a couple of news stories that we kind of want to talk about a little bit more. The first one is Rational Games' next DLC, or last DLC, I believe, for BioShock Infinite, is Burial at Sea Chapter 2, or whatever they called it. And I don't know if it's Chapter 2 or Part 2 or.
I think it's part two.
Um, and something they're introducing into this DLC is a 1998 mode. And what that mode is a stealth mode, basically. You have to do the whole. The difficulty is to complete the narrative story without using any lethal terms or lethal ways of getting through things. I don't know. And apparently it's an honor for Thief, and yeah. So Corey, you plan on playing this? What is your feelings on this?
It's interesting. I probably won't play all the way through without killing anyone. I just can't see that happening. Probably. It's kind of thing. Maybe I. So it's a mode. So I mean, it's like the 1999 mode. So I'm curious. First of all, if it's the kind of thing where I need to play through it and finish it, and then it unlocks the 1998 mode, because that's how it was with the 1999 mode. I had to beat the game, and then it unlocked it. So yeah, it'd be. I would probably play through it and then reload it in 1998, sneak around for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then stop. I don't know, unless it's really good. I mean, just they don't have like a history with stealth games, and Bioshock's games aren't exactly stealth games, so I'm just not sure. You know what I mean? Like how good it's going to be as far as a stealth game.
Yeah, I don't even know what non-lethal means in Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, in other games like in Thief, you use the jackknife to hit people over the head and knock them out, which is funny. GameSpot had a video about basically if you hit them over the head to knock them out for several hours, they would basically like be bleeding inside their brain and stuff. So really, like, oh, sure, you didn't kill them, but you basically did.
You didn't
Like
kill in
they'd
that
have like,
moment, but
yeah,
man, you're gonna
exactly.
make their hospital bill really high.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, it's like, um,
I mean,
so I
so
thought that was interesting.
this kind of goes off our Dishonored 2 headline. I asked you, like, did you want more of the stealth? And Dishonored not 2, but Dishonored 1 was kind of it was the new evolution of stealth games that was coming out at the time, or around recently, basically, where it's like, yeah, there's a stealth aspect, but in the end, if you get caught, it's not the end of the world. You can generally fight your way through. You have very powerful moves to get through it anyways.
Yeah.
And this one is forcing the stealth mode, kind of like like they're saying it's like an honor of thief. And I wonder what the stealth mechanics they got in here, because Bioshock, I don't think it literally had any stealth mechanics in the
No.
original game. Like,
No, like if
you can
there's
crouch, I
yeah, I
guess.
mean, well, I mean, technically, I guess if someone doesn't see him in the back, you get like a bonus stun or something.
Maybe.
Technically, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, Bioshock Infinite, like, I was looking through the old videos, or my old videos, and we had one where we are talking about the violence of Bioshock Infinite. People were complaining about it, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Apparently, I don't know much about Burial at Sea. I heard you're gonna be playing as Elizabeth in the second one.
Yeah, I actually didn't finish part one because I kind of wanted to just play them back to back because I heard people complain about it being sort of like, oh, okay, it's done. I guess I have to wait. So I was kind of like, I'm just gonna wait and play them back to back. I played like the early part of Burial at Sea, where you're just like walking around original Rapture, or this version of Rapture. I want to get technical, but um, I so that was fun. I just walked around and did all that stuff. But once I actually started to get in combat, then I turned it off and I was like, I'm just gonna wait and play them back to back because it's so short that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you were kind of doing that with like watching Legend of Korra. You're like, I'm just gonna wait so I can just watch it all at once. You
The
know?
problem is I haven't watched it yet.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that can be the negative side effect of it, but I do think it's a better way because, like with storytelling, if you're way too long, you kind of lose the thread. It's like, what? Who is this character again? So I kind of like doing it
Yeah,
all in one shot. You
definitely
know?
for story-based games like Phoenix Wright. I have the DLC. They have the DLC case, and I've started a little bit here and there, and I could have finished it by now. I probably, if like I was playing when, I was just laying down in bed or taking a break or something like that. But
Hmm.
I want to play the game straight through, like even if it takes 4 or 5 hours, because for some odd reason these books take 4 to 5 hours to play. But yeah, it's definitely. I feel like it's definitely worth it. I think you made the right choice there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the recommendation I was hearing from other people too that played it. So it just seemed like, it's so short. Might as well wait. It's gonna be out soon, and yeah, it's like out later this month, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think the 25th. Yeah, especially since it was called Burial at Sea Part One, right? Like
yeah.
it wasn't
I knew
called.
going in there was gonna be a part two.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah.
at least it's not a Half-Life thing where they promise three and only deliver two.
Now it's a joke though. It's a joke that everyone loves to use. Half-Life 3
Huh.
confirmed.
Oh man, that's one of my least favorite things on the internet. Is anything because I follow Valve Time on Facebook. Like even if it's unrelated, there's a Half-Life 3 joke in there somewhere. It's like that you have no idea how long that joke's been around. Like what is it, 2014? These jokes have been going on since 2008. So we're kind of over it.
Some people are really clever at it though. Like, I'll have like
Not the people I see in Facebook.
if you give it some like actual effort where you connect numbers and stuff like that, I'll give it to you. But if you just kind of go like, oh, random thing, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like, oh, they can't make threes. It's like, okay, yeah, we haven't seen that one before.
Well, to be fair, it's not exactly a joke until actually they do make a 3, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
They're gonna
actually a
make
fact.
a Dota 3 first.
Oh my god. Even though they didn't make Dota 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about it. I'm not going to be playing it, to be honest. I was happy with the first game, and I don't see myself overly thrilled with it. How much was the DLC?
Well, I got the season pass, which was $20 for all three DLC. The one piece of junk,
What was the third?
wave-based DLC.
Oh, okay.
But for me, it would have been $30 because I think Burial at Sea Part One and Two are $15 each. So to buy the DLC, to buy the season pass was cheaper.
Aren't
So
those?
that's the only reason I did that.
And the first one's only like 2 hours long, though.
Yeah, that's if I didn't buy the season pass, I would be mad probably.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, it's
that's
good to always support your favorite games, even though the company's not there anymore.
well,
So.
I was gonna say they're not there anymore, and also big companies aren't exactly crying for money. They think they're okay.
No, I know,
Yeah,
but
it is $15 for episode one, or season pass is $20. So why would you not get the season pass? Like, why is it even there? They should just have. I don't know. That pisses me off.
well, to be fair, I don't know why it's
Like, why
separate.
would you buy part one and not two? You know what I mean? That's silly.
Yeah, so I almost say it's a question of like, why was it separated in the first place? More money, I guess.
Yeah. What the heck? There's some weird Steam tags getting popular in Steam right now. Deep Dark Fantasy is a tag for Bioshock Infinite. It's really weird. Like that's all one tag. Anyways,
People forget the commas.
yeah, exactly. So
That's Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that Peter Molyneux calls Fable 3 a train wreck. Do you agree with that?
So the reason I brought this up, it's not really a huge article or really even that big of a news, but basically it's just Peter Molyneux talking with a site. I don't know if it's the tech. I don't know if it was directly to developonline.net, but um, basically he talks about how the Fable series was a series that he had a big idea, big imagination for it. He had all these expectations and wants in the game, and he was talking about how Fable 1 was a good game, Fable 2 built upon it, and then he said that Fable 3 just he wanted so much more into it that it ended up failing. And the big reason I wanted to talk about it was because me and Corey, if you guys don't know, played Fable 3 co-op.
Ugh.
And I personally didn't care that much about it.
You
I've
you
just
were the primary player though.
yeah, and also I'm just generally not as uh, hateful, I
Picky.
guess. Um, I wouldn't say picky. I'm pretty picky, just not hateful. But yeah, go ahead and Corey, go ahead and kind of let out your emotions here if you want.
I don't know if I can. It hurts too much. Well, I mean, for me, the main thing was because he was hosting, he was the only one like really playing the game. My character didn't level. I couldn't customize my character. There was nothing saved across. Every time I'd come in, it was like a brand new experience for my character. Um, so for a role playing game, that's completely broken, like completely for a co-op RPG game. Like it would be like if I played Borderlands 2 and I jumped in there and it never saved in between, only saved for you, Ryan. That would be really, really bad. And that's basically what it is in Fable 3. Um, that's the number one problem. Besides that, the combat was poor. The story was poor. I couldn't even tell you what was going on. It was so boring. It's just nothing about this game was redeemable. Like maybe in a single player experience, maybe.
I like
But
the combat, by the way. I think the
oh
combat's good in
really?
Fable. Yeah, it's the same as Fable 1 and 2 from when I remember.
I never liked the Fable combat.
Oh,
I just
combat's good in my opinion.
oh, okay.
I mean, it
Um,
probably sucked for you there because, like you're saying, you're having like lag problems. I think it's
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. There was also lag problems where like, and we didn't have lag in any other games we played. Just that one.
yeah.
Where like, oh, it was an issue of like, you'd be fighting invisible characters, and then I'd be fighting guys you wouldn't see. Like we were fighting our own battles basically. And it was just like, what's going on?
Which actually may it's not really a terrible uh, system. I think if you are open with it, like if we knew that we had our own battles that we had to fight, and it just kind of looked like we were fighting
No, I don't
together.
think that's the case though. I think it would just
No,
rig out, do random things.
I know that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying is that I think it would have been okay if that was the planned, intended thing, and they
Yes.
stated it. They're
Well, I
like,
mean,
go ahead.
no, that's how it is in Monster Hunter. So like Josiah and I are playing that. So like all the big bosses are shared, but a lot of the little guys are just instanced. You know, like MMO style. Like I'm fighting this thing, but you're not, and we just kind of like, okay, that's just how this game works. So yeah, so I get what you mean. Like if you know that's how the game works, then it's like okay, that's fine. I accept that, but it's just working inconsistently because the game's just poorly coded. That's a different. That's something completely different.
I guess something we should probably mention. I feel like this matters is we played on the PC, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was built for the Xbox 360. And
No, it totally was. But I mean, first of all, it's not really an excuse.
no, I know, but I'm just saying that
But
the Xbox
also, I
360
didn't
version may be
hear
better.
great things about the 360 version either.
I know, but
You
I
know,
don't know if they would have because like honestly, we were having just problems with Windows Live for games or
oh my,
whatever. Windows for
yeah, that's
gaming.
an entirely different discussion.
Yeah.
Which is finally it's finally dead. Which means that a lot of games I have are just gonna break now.
Oh, really?
Like if they don't patch the game, a lot of them are just gonna break. So like if it's a game that someone still holds the rights to and still has a code base, they can go in and patch it. But
Oh, okay.
games that are just kind of like, we don't really care about that. Like they're probably just gonna break. Someone has a list online of like, here's the games that so far we think are just gonna break because that no one's commented on whether they're gonna patch it.
Yeah.
Because they're taking all those servers down and stuff, so it'd be interesting.
Digital or online games. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like I liked, Peter Molyneux's games always have interesting worlds.
Yeah, he's
Um,
very interesting, creative guy. He just kind of can't necessarily get the people he's working with to make the game that he envisions.
yeah, I think that's why I kind of liked the article too. Was like, when we were angry with Fable 3, um, it probably. I'm sure we were thinking like, wow, why did Peter is a terrible you know director or whatever. But in the end, I mean, just noted this. Just the creative director or I don't know if he's creative director, but whatever his position was, just himself like acknowledging that it was. I mean, he called it a train wreck. He didn't even just say like it was bad or it wasn't up to standards. It was like, yeah, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
That was his direct quote, and it's just like that's the perfect way to describe the gameplay we had.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think, like, especially for future games, you should be the one hosting if we ever have that problems, because I'm not gonna be as angry. I'm just
Yeah.
happy to find co-op games that semi work.
Well, I mean, I've had so many co-op games that work so well, like Borderlands. I think Borderlands may be the best co-op game, as far as like, it's fun, it's funny. We almost never, except we had a couple crashes here and there, but like all of our quests would synchronize. I don't know how many games we played where like, oh, what quest do you on? Like, oh, we're not in the same quest for some reason. Okay, you finish the quest and then I have to go pick it up. Oh, no, wait, I lost it. Like, none of that in Borderlands 2. So I guess because we had that one held up so high, like this is what a co-op game should be. Fable 3 was so far from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
So I guess my expectations were a lot higher.
I guess we'll talk about more about co-op games a little bit later, uh, but oh, what did I want to say? But yeah, co-op games. I think in general though, like even though Borderlands 2 does it great, co-op games are kind of dying out in general, in my opinion.
Really?
I feel a little bit like Coach, like you were talking about the couch ones, but
Yeah, couch gaming is definitely on the rise, but that's different.
but like like Halo, that was one game where it's like you can have 4 players playing single player. I think maybe I don't know. There was
And one
something
of the
like
Halos did that.
some games like that. Like they're like that now. It's just like nope, you have to have a guest or whatever, and it's just like what why or split screens for big games are definitely dying out. I would say.
Yeah. I mean, as far as that, there are technical reasons for that
Okay.
because like you have to render the game 4 times.
Yeah.
So you have to optimize the engine to do that. So I mean, it is possible, but they look at the man hours and they look at how many people use it and they say, "Nah, cut it." You know? So I understand why they do. It's still annoying though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly why my brothers and I have been moving farther and farther towards the PC side because so many games we can just play them on each on our own computers or do local games. So I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, splitting a TV into 4 screens is really not that fun in general, anyways. But
Oh no. Yeah, exactly. But well, my point is like now that
well,
we're
it's fun,
moving
but
on to all our own separate things, we're just moving to computers since we all already have them for various reasons.
yeah.
Whereas like, okay, we're all gonna buy all our own consoles, and like, oh, which console are we getting? Or it's just like, everyone has PCs, so it's just like it's easier in a weird way.
Yep. Anyways, I think that's basically it. Do you have anything else to say about Fable 3 or even Burial at Sea?
Don't play Fable 3.
Play Fable 1. That's a good game. Or play I think they have an HD version of 1 and 2. That may be good.
Yeah, I heard not that great things about it, but I don't know.
Whatever. Experience it for yourself. Hey Corey, what you been playing?
What the heck? Was not expecting
I was like,
to
I
be
don't
asked in that way.
I was like,
It's fine. That's fine. I've
got an
been
intro
playing.
in, so I was like, let's just start. Let's just ask the question. What have you been playing, Corey?
All right, let's do it. Um,
I guess what we've been playing technically.
so yeah, we played Monaco with my brother Josiah also. Um, it's a cooperative stealing game, bank heist kind of game.
I wish you could
Guess
see my
you could say.
fingers. It's a stealth game.
It's a stealth game,
Quote,
but it's
unquote.
but it's like
You don't have to play it stealth technically.
yeah. Um, I learned the last time I played it that I don't like it very much. I think I liked it more the first time I played it. It's interesting. I remember being really excited when I first saw a trailer for it like a couple of years ago. But because the idea of like, oh, cooperative thing where like But what ends up happening, you don't work together. You just run in. Everyone's running around, pushing buttons, accidentally alerting guards, killing guys. Like it's really hard to coordinate in that game.
Well, I think that's
And
the point of it, but
I
we're just
guess,
not someone that does that. We don't even listen to like cutscenes and stories, and when we're doing co-op generally. I mean, sometimes we do, but
yeah, I mean it's kind of hard to honestly, like unless
yeah.
it does it in a way that it, it facilitates it. And also, like I don't feel like there's any mechanics in the game that really make it where like okay, you need to go do this so we can do that. It's just everyone can just run around and do whatever. Doesn't really matter. I don't know. It's interesting, like back talking about co-op games, but like I don't know. I just don't like playing it very much. It's not very enjoyable to play.
So yeah, so I had never played the game, but you and Josiah had played it. And so when we first started, you guys were running around doing everything already. And so I was just like, how do I open a door? And they're like, and you're like, guys are collecting everything. It's like, oh, now I got the mole and blah, blah, blah. It's like, huh? What? Okay. Finally, like three
Keep up.
missions in. Yeah, 3 missions in, I finally discovered, like, oh, okay, I understand things now. I was just like, oh
I mean,
my
I
god.
think that's kind of how the game works. It's kind
I
of the
mean,
first. Yeah.
I can it's one of those games that it doesn't quite force you into the way it wants you to play, which I think is a design problem. Like, I think there needs to be probably bigger consequences, to be honest, if someone gets caught. Like, I don't know how to necessarily enforce it, but I think the point of the game was that you have characters that have specific abilities, and these abilities are things like locksmith, like they can pick a lock quicker. Someone can dig through walls. Um, One can knock out people from behind. Things like that. Like, you have a very specific job,
Yeah.
and it's a top-down game, and it's supposed to be that you have to talk to your friends and stuff like that. And I think it could be fine, but the problem is like the enemies that you're facing are slower than you, right?
Hmm.
If the alarm goes off, who cares? You're just running around anyways. You pick things, you can go through locked doors quick enough. You can hide very easily. Just run into other people and they'll like start chasing them. They stop chasing at weird times. And yeah, there's really almost like in honestly, I think the biggest problem is that you can actually take hits. Like you can take
Yeah. Quite a
gunshots.
few.
Like if you're a stealth game, like I don't know why you can take more than one bullet, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's
Um,
why I guess when you called it a stealth game, the reason I wasn't thinking of it is because I really don't think of it as a stealth game because it's so
I mean, you're supposed to sneak
not in a way.
around and let the
Yeah.
cleaner take out
You're
guards,
supposed to.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that if you can somehow enforce it a little bit better, or if you play it that way, I think there's probably a lot of people that probably play it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But we weren't playing that way because it never really told us. It never really made us do that. So I just we just kept running around, and I was having fun with it. I think it's kind of the what is the little song like where it's like people just running around, running through doors back and forth. What is the song that usually plays with that? The
Chicken dance or something? I don't know.
No, it's like the William Tell thing.
William Tell Overture?
Yeah, like that's how I think that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like the Scooby Doo thing, basically.
I don't remember what song they played on Scooby Doo.
Oh no, Benny Hill. Benny
Benny Hill.
Hill, the Benny Hill theme. Do you know what that is?
Okay. Nope.
You should look it up. I think you'll recognize it. I just imagine the Benny Hill theme going out, and it just plays like a ridiculous song, and it's just like I don't know how to describe it without singing it, or I don't even know how to sing it, to be honest. But it was kind of funny to me, like playing it that way. But yeah, you're right. Like it's not really a co-op game even. It's just kind of like collect all the things and run away, and kind of all on your own. It doesn't matter what you are, what character you picked. You can probably do it all by yourself, whatever. It just takes time. I mean, there are a few times we died, but
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, I guess it can also be it's also known as the chicken song or the chicken dance, the Benny Hill theme. So we were thinking of the same song, just different words for it.
that's a different song, isn't it? The chicken dance song.
Oh, it says Benny Hill theme song, aka chicken song.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's weird.
So I knew exactly
I've
what you're talking about, just in a different name.
I've never No, that's weird. I've never put them together. It's kind of like that. Did you ever know that ABC's Baba Black Sheep and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star all have the same melody or whatever?
I don't know what Baba Black Sheep is, so no.
Baba Black Sheep, have any wool? Yes sir, 3 pounds full.
Sure.
Well, just do ABC's and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Sing it.
No.
Just sing
You
like the
can't make
first
me.
part. Okay, it goes A B C D, right? Like that's the first part of that. It goes
Hmm.
Twinkle Twinkle. If you keep going, it's actually the exact same beat or tune or whatever. I'm not a music guy. Whatever.
Nice.
I'll say it off podcast. I'm not gonna sing here. Anything else to say about Monaco?
um, I think that's about it.
You ABC. Anyway, so normally, so when we played Monaco, this was our Monday night stream, or was supposed to be our Monday night stream. Me, Corey, and Josiah all play on generally on Monday nights at twitch.tv/ChainedSniper live. But this time one of us, I think you, Corey, had something to do then, and Josiah probably. So we
Yeah.
ended up playing Tuesday. But so on Monday, when I got turned down, I ended up playing Persona
Where
3.
where
And Persona 3, so if you guys don't know the Persona series,
Persona.
it's all about, you have like social links, and then it has basically a gameplay part where it's like an RPG basically, and then you have like it's not necessarily sim dating or whatever. It's not like necessarily The
Basically.
Sims,
So
but it's like where you talk and you go and I guess yeah, it is basically The Sims or sim dating. But it's not about necessarily dating. The whole point is that to get stronger, you need to create stronger bonds with different people. So so it's not just dating, but it's also just hanging out with friends and certain friends and stuff like that. And the Persona series is kind of annoying because like for a perfectionist, because I don't think you're supposed to finish every single social link and stuff like that. And so for me, someone who does like getting everything and seeing everything and finishing it all and not playing it again, uh, I want to play the whole thing. I just want to play the game, complete everything, but the game overall is timed. Like it happens every day, but there's a certain amount of time until the boss comes up and stuff like
oh
that.
man.
So
I hate that so much.
so it's not necessarily timed as in minutes, but like it's timed as in you have a limited amount of actions in between each day. And so you have to balance between your character being tired and healthy, between studying, between going into the what they call the Tartarus and fighting them and stuff like that. I mean, the Persona series is definitely good if you like that type of game. But the reason I brought it up specifically is that there's a guide on I think it's GameFAQs, the guild
Cheater.
walkthroughs. I don't care. You can call me a
I'm
cheater.
just kidding.
I'm not gonna replay the game, so I want to see as much of it as I can. And basically, he gives a day-to-day thing of what you should be doing. And so basically, I think if you follow this, you should get all the social links and all the everything that you need. But the problem is he doesn't give you battle things either. So you go into the Tartarus and you go battle, and you're supposed to explore this giant tower that has monsters and stuff like that. And the time limit, you don't have really a time limit there, but the time limit is your characters get tired, and they also if you want to try leaving or something like that, they'll say like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore. Of course, dying is another way to stop it, but so you have to kind of do this balance. And so he doesn't go through that. He just says that if you need to go to Tartarus, he'll give you a few days where it's like you can go on here. This is a good time to go. But what ended up happening to me was that I was trying to get as much of the Tartarus time in, so that because you need certain, I don't know, you can go deep into it. You need to go in there a few times to maximize the social links, and I accidentally screwed it up on one of them because you needed a certain persona before if you want to do the social link. So what I ended up doing was trying doing a different social link to kind of like swap them basically. But I ended up finding out why that social link was on that day and another social link was on another day is because you couldn't do that the first social link on that the next day or whatever, And so now I'm struggled to find the part where it's like, okay, so I'll normally do this, but I already did this, so I can go back to do this. And so I'm trying to catch up, and I'm hoping to God, because I don't want to start over, or I don't want to miss anything, because it's right there. It's a walkthrough of how to get all the social links, and I do not want to fail this. So I'm hoping that there's a time where I was able to swap it around, and I'm gonna be so annoyed if I don't get that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
I've
God.
kind of given up on because I used to be like that. I would always get mad or sad if I couldn't like save every character kind of thing. But
I
I've kind of given up on that.
I'm never, I give
Oh,
up on it, but I give up on the game. I don't give up on my way of playing the
yeah, I mean,
game.
I that's what I used to do. But then The Walking Dead kind of just slapped me around and was like, just deal with it.
Well, I feel like that's a little different.
Oh yeah, it is because that one forces you to go one way. I guess it just forced me to deal with like you can't save everyone kind of thing, and also just kind of rolling with the punches, not trying to reload your game. Just like as long as the kind of thing, if I can still finish the game, I'm just gonna keep going to finish it and just roll with my consequences kind of thing.
I mean, the problem with me is like I would compare it more like Mass Effect, where it's like Mass Effect isn't on nearly as much of a timeline. I'm like 99% sure. Like the timeline is just if you do the story missions. So
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 specifically. Um, so if I don't want to miss any of the loyalty missions or the recruiting missions. So, what I do is I go, I get to the story mission, I complete all the side missions, and then I move on. And with Mass Effect, even though there's kind of a timeline, at least in Mass Effect 3, and I think all of them, there's a sense of urgency, um, but it's not nearly as bad as Persona. But with something like Walking Dead, I can definitely get past not being 100% there, but that's definitely a story based game where it's like it's okay to miss it, and I don't think you ever miss a part of the game if you go one way or the other.
Well, I mean, you technically miss out on that character, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean you'll miss a few lines here or there, but like if
Well,
you if you skip out on recruiting Tally or something on Mass Effect 2, well you miss out on two whole missions, you know,
yeah,
and you'd never get to play them.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like with Mass Effect, I don't know. The only time that I would reload is if the dialogue I chose was not the same thing that my guy said and did. You know what I mean? Like I select something and then he goes and does something crazy. I've had that happen a couple times where it's like that's not what I was trying to do. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, kinda.
I've had
And
that happen. That's the only time where it's like I wasn't trying to like make her mad at me. That's not how I read that line when I selected it. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
the lines are not
Like
necessarily
it's
what you
kind of like
think.
it's very subtle, like I'm kind of being snarky, but then like when he actually says, he like gets up in her face and like yells at her or something. It's, no, that's not what I was trying to do. Um, but I don't know. With that game, I would kind of just roll with it too. But in the older games like Knights Old Republic, I would if I did the thing I didn't want to do, I'd just reload it.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Mass Effect is I know like I wasn't so, like yeah they get mad at you, but I realize I kind of know how the system works, so it's like you may yell at them there and they may be disappointed with you there, but as long as everything else you're nice, it doesn't really matter. So I was able like I don't think I ever reloaded on Mass Effect. I don't generally reload. I like to have everything. That's why I'll read like Fire Emblem was another game kind of that I did that where I restarted that game too actually, but
Oh, really?
there's a middle part where a bunch of things happen, and it can happen a bunch of different ways to an extent. And so I ended up reading it, and I was just like, okay, I'm good. And actually, I didn't learn about it. Like, I didn't get to that point and then go, oh, I want to redo this. I want to get my own different way. I ended up like reading like how to get like a certain weapon or something like that, just something small, and then to end up going like, oh, huh, so that happens. Okay, huh. Restart.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I'm that type of gamer.
Yeah.
It's my way of playing games. Like, that once I get into a game, I love to really delve deep into it, and that's just how I play games.
Yeah. Except Beyond Two Souls, because you hate it.
No, I just haven't finished
I
completing
I
it.
know,
That's
I
not.
know. It's because your dad wasn't able to keep playing with you or something.
Yeah. Well, we just kind of stopped playing.
Yeah.
We don't. I don't know if we really got bored. It wasn't. bringing us back as much
Yeah.
as I would
I want
like
to
it.
talk about the ending with you sometime.
Okay, I'll try finishing it soon. Anyways, want to move on to the next game? Last game?
Sure.
This is your game, so.
My game. I
It's not
own
my
it.
game.
Not my game. Dota 2. It
Nothing.
stands for Defenders of the Alliance 2.
No, it means nothing.
I know.
Dota, the original Dota means Defense of the Ancients,
I know.
but Dota 2 means nothing. Because Valve stole the name.
They stole it.
So they can't say it's Defense of the Agents. It's just Dota 2, a word called Dota.
Exactly. It's very strange.
Anyways.
We played that game.
Yeah, we played it with Monaco, right after Monaco.
Yeah, and we learned that playing against medium bots is much more difficult than playing against human players.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we played against the bots, we just got crushed into the ground. We played against human players, and granted, we had a really good player on our team, but all of us were better than them.
So
I think.
what happened? So what happened is in Dota 2, we've played it before like twice, I think.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
And the first time we played, I had just started playing. We just started playing League of Legends, so. And you being a Valve fan. I don't want to say fanboy, so fan. There you go. You being a Valve fan, you wanted to try Dota 2, and I was like, yeah, let's try Dota 2. I like League of Legends or whatever. That game is so different, and I was just learning League of Legends, so I kind of came in like I knew both Dota 2 and League of Legends were kind of hard to get in, but we had a friend on League of Legends that helped us, pretty easily get into League of Legends, at least for me. And so when I went to Dota 2, we had no one like that, and
we need a mentor.
We need a coach.
A coach, yeah.
In the coach position, and so that game was it was a little frustrating at first because we were losing to bots.
Yeah.
And
not losing to bots. Game's just completely annihilated by bots.
I was gonna say, yeah, we were losing. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying not just losing, just like embarrassingly horrible.
Yeah, so at that point I had very little MOBA experience, and so I didn't enjoy it as much. And we made Corey mad, I'm pretty sure then.
No, it was it was just Eric's attitude that made me mad that day. Eric's attitude in general makes me mad. That's why I don't play games with him very often.
So the next time we played, I had played a lot more League of Legends, I think more than you. I started getting into League of Legends, and I'm still not good at the game, but I understand the game a lot deeper now. I'm not confused about items and builds and matchups, and I understand the game very well. I'm just not good at it. So we went back into Dota 2 going like, okay, I know the differences in Dota 2. I know about the courier, denying, that, the lanes aren't always the exact same, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I'm understanding this a little bit more. I still did terrible. We still did terrible.
Hey, you did pretty good when we played against the humans.
Well, then the third time we played against bots again, and this time I was like, okay, I'm going to study this game even more. I'm going to pick a character, look up guides on her, and figure how to play her. So we went into medium bots and lost. And I was just like, okay, I don't understand this game at all. But then Corey was like, it's actually easier against people. So we ended up playing against bots. Ended up going like, so I died like 5 or 6 times like straight off the bat. And then finally after like at 7 deaths, I finally started to just play safer and understand how to play the character a little bit better. But I still did terrible. But then against people, I ended up going like 7, 1-7 or 10. I don't know. I did really good. Like they're just like, oh man, it's a lot easier when they can't hit every single spell on you.
Yeah, like it's very strange. It's been a problem for quite some time, so it's pretty strange they haven't like.
League of Legends is actually pretty similar.
No, but I mean, we played against intermediate bots and we did fine.
Well, so here's the thing. In League of Legends, there's actually a pro player that ended up playing against bots one time on stream, intermediate bots.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's really good at the game. So he kind of screwed around at first. What you don't realize about the intermediate bots in League of Legends is that they start off really weak. Like, you can abuse them pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you let them get strong, though, they will hit every single spell on you. So if you're not careful, like, they'll miss a few times. Like, if you they'll try to predict you or whatever. So if you don't do what they're predicting, they'll miss. But in general, like they'll outburst you and stuff like that, and they'll hit every single skill shot on you, and so that that's the weakness of League of Legends. But if you say like if you give them like a 10 kill lead or something like that, it's very hard to come back. They're stupid enough to where you can just sneak around and kill their base because they don't finish the base that well. Dota 2 does actually finish bases pretty well, the bots, but yeah, that's the weakness. And that pro player ended up losing actually that game.
Wow.
He actually lost the bot game. I've never lost the bot game, so I have that
Nice.
over him. Haha.
Wow.
So like I wouldn't doubt if Dota 2 is maybe somewhat similar, but the problem, like like I was saying, is they'll hit every skill shot because they're computers. They can't, like, unless they add in a random factor of missing, which
Hmm.
would look weird probably.
Yeah.
uh, it's that's always gonna be the problem with bots, is that even you can't really make you can try making them lifelike, but in the end, I feel like the developers are like, this is not an important part to this game. It'll
Right.
help people learn, but it doesn't let them learn playing the game.
Exactly.
It's already hard enough. It's not like playing against bots is gonna make you a pro player. If you played enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dota 2 is definitely a very different game. I don't know if it's because I played League of Legends first, but I do like just most of the designs choices in League of Legends more than Dota 2. But that's just an opinion.
Yeah. I guess I like the visuals a lot better.
See,
Like I'm
I don't
for
understand that.
like I think it's a better looking game.
I've
Like
heard
the
people
art
say that,
style,
but it looks
the
ugly to me.
technically, artistically, just everything. I don't. The names of the characters are stupid.
Yeah, I hate those.
And that's for legacy reasons, so I get it. But for any new characters they make, then they can kind of, you know, be a little more creative. Not Sniper,
Phoenix.
Viper. They're all just like, really, come on.
Yeah, I like the
um,
lore of League of
it's like
Legends.
League of Legends has like biographies on all the characters and stuff, and like like the lore is much better in League.
Yeah.
So it definitely has that going for it. But I mean, and the launcher for League. I mean, come on, it's based in Flash. Like things like that. Like
I've never
all,
had a
it's
problem with
mostly
it.
technical stuff. Like
Yeah,
I just don't
League of
like the way.
Legends more technical.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
Dota 2 is.
yeah, and I like the courier. I like the way that system works. I don't like having to go back to the base constantly. Um, I think that's a really neat mechanic. I don't know how I feel about the secret shops. It's interesting. I mean I haven't played enough to really know like
So like
why those are there. You know what I mean? If that makes it interesting, I don't know.
you can use the courier to go to the secret shops and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of things with the courier that I've seen happen. It's a weird thing to control.
Hmm.
I feel weird that you can pick the courier and now you're not controlling your own hero.
Yeah. Well, and like if what I learned is if a teammate goes AFK, you can control their character.
Yeah.
So like if I'm dead, I can like send them out and fight for a while and send them back, or try to control both of them or something crazy. Like it seems pretty nuts.
Yeah, the game against humans was actually end up being a 4v5 in their favor.
Yeah.
But they had one person that was literally terrible. Like he walked up and had like no life and was just sitting in the middle, and I was just like, and I had like my character had the power like a power shot where it loaded up, and he just stood there, took it, and was like, okay, cool, I'll take the kill.
Nice.
But yeah, yeah, Dota 2 and League of Legends always gonna be different. They're definitely there's a reason they're the same genre, but you definitely can't, if you're good in one does not mean you're good in the other.
Oh no, not at all. I think the best thing about having Dota 2 is that now there's competition for League. I think everyone can agree that competition is good. Whereas like no one else was really big enough. Like Valve, they have the money and everything to push it.
I heard
Um,
they're not even pushing it that hard though.
I mean, they're doing $2 million tournaments.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're not like having one tournament for like from my knowledge, Valve is taking like more of an offhand approach to their
Yeah, I mean
esports
that's
side.
their style. I don't mean that in like a way of like big marketing, like multi-million dollar ad campaign or something. But
I mean, honestly, I just like it because I want esports to grow. It is my type of sports. I mean,
yeah,
I've liked football, basketball stuff, but Esports is just so much more fun to me. I like that there's fighting. Like I want to just be able, like I want in a weekend just to go. I want to watch fighting games right now. Oh, I want to watch League of Legends. I want to watch StarCraft. I want to watch Dota 2. I want like that's so cool to me. Like I just want
Yeah,
like a full channel of different video games from Let's Players to esports, and it's so cool that there's so many different ways to watch video games now.
yeah. So now, for future theoretical talk, I was thinking it'd be interesting to talk about the difference between sports and esports in the way that football, to my knowledge, doesn't change the rules very often.
Yeah.
Whereas there's patch notes on a weekly, monthly, or bi-monthly basis for these esports titles where it can fundamentally change the dynamics of gameplay.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
can
interesting. So I don't want to get into that now, but I just want to bring it up because I was thinking about that recently. I'm like, that's interesting, you know?
yeah, we can switch to theoretical talk now.
Okay.
I mean, we'll pause, but secret.
Secret pause.
Anyway, I mean, do you have anything else to say about Dota 2?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So Corey, you want to talk about esports versus sports, right? Do you want to head and start this off because I feel like I'll be the more dictionary kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I I don't like sports. I don't like esports. I don't like I like the philosophical or I don't know, discussions about them more interesting than the actual sports. Like I find the idea interesting that people like football, and football is a very clearly defined game with very specific rules, and the variables are which players are playing this year.
Yeah.
And in a video game, it's oh, what are the patch notes for this week? Oh, they have this character that does zero point 0.5% more damage per second, and oh, that completely changes the entire dynamic of the game.
It
Um,
does, okay.
I know it does sometimes. So that's
Uh,
interesting that traditional sports, besides the players, the actual rules of the sports and kind of the dynamics of it are pretty set in stone, as far as I know. So it's interesting that a game that's competitive can be so variable over time.
yeah, so sports, they'll have rule changes. Like in football, the biggest thing has been protecting the players. Like they don't want them to get injured because pro players have they have short lifespans. Really, honestly, like they shorten their lives playing the game, and so they're trying to protect that. So you can't tackle as hard or tackle in certain ways and stuff like that. And so that changes, but in the end, yeah, you're right. Like they never go like. Actually, recently they're trying to change a certain thing that I won't get into, but they're trying to change the game that it's a pretty big difference. But just having that, like it's not too big, but it's a difference that hasn't been done in football and for a long time.
Hmm.
They're changing the extra point, if you know what that is.
A what?
The extra point after a touchdown.
Oh yeah, sure. No idea.
If people that are listening might know. So but that's a big deal. That's like wow. And what it is basically when you score a touchdown, you get 6 points, and then you kick a very very short field goal, which is 19 yards, and you get one more point. So then it's 7 points. Now they're changing it to make it like harder or easier. There's a lot of things going out there, and it's such a big discussion for 1 point in a game that you score 6 or 3 points, in big variables, and that's a big deal. With esports, within the season, the game is changing so much because while the players aren't changing, the characters they play are changing, and that's almost like it's kind of weird. Like it's almost like two players are playing, like how do I describe it? Like when Tom Brady's playing the field, it's just him. But in esports, it would be like like his brain is like someone else controlling him. So it's like he has his certain way of playing, and then the other. I don't know how to describe it. There's
Yeah, not
basically two things going on at once. So it's like just because this one character is strong, a certain player might play him differently, play him worse, play him better, play him, secretly better, whatever it is. That's not in football, and so it's like that's a crazy thing to change. You're changing the characters of the game, the players, the positions of the game, basically, on a, not weekly basis, but they change it every so often, and it's kind of weird that they do that.
Yeah, and and with League in particular, they'll rebalance based on which characters are free this month versus on sale versus high price. They kind of restructure things every once in a while. So it's interesting, like thinking about okay, in 2009 when people played this game competitively, is like the tactics were totally different than what they're using right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas
so
in football, like I don't think the tactics really change that much. It's like in like all of a sudden this year they came out with a new move in chess that someone figured out. It's like everyone knows all the chess moves. They've written books about it. It's done.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, the thing with esports is I feel like that's what makes, for a lot of people, that's what makes it interesting. The fighting game
Yeah.
community does it too, where it changes a lot. Like now it changes a lot that it's kind of growing. But for pro players, that kind of sucks. It's a terrible thing.
Hmm.
I mean, it probably makes, honestly, it helps them keep interested in the game. It definitely keeps me interested in the game. That, characters that I never played are now strong, or players I never used to play or I liked to play but they were terrible are strong now. Now I get to play them, and and there's new characters constantly coming out, characters that are remade basically into brand new characters, and that's a lot of fun to keep going in. But if you're a pro player who, especially in esports or League of Legends, where if you don't do good during the season, you go up against an amateur team and you can lose your job. It's somewhat similar in football where you have, rookies or players are brought in to kind of challenge you, but you have contracts and that keep you in, and that's a very individual competition. Here it's like you're playing on a team of 5, and if your 4 teammates are bad, you can lose your job even though you're one of the best players.
Wow.
And so it's like that just kind of sucks. And like imagine if you're a good mid laner who's good at getting kills. Like he's good on the characters that go for champion kills rather than farming, the creeps and stuff like that. But all of a sudden they decide, oh, we're gonna nerf that or add this item that makes that type of game style not good. Well, now you're kind of screwed.
Hmm.
You were just all of a sudden the best player, and now you're maybe you're good still. Who knows? And so that's so for pro players, that variety and that volatility is scary, but it definitely keeps it more interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, but it's also kind of, like you're saying, it's kind of like really risky for people playing it because it's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to make good in 6 months, so I can't really do this as a full-time, sports career
Yeah.
because it's just too risky.
And honestly, I mean, even though like pro football players, are tackling each other, they're giving each other concussions, but you can still play until I'd say the average age is like supposed to be like 24, but that's because there's a bunch of rookies that that don't get a job anymore, stuff like that. But when if the player is good enough, they'll stay until 30 to 35 years old, and that's a good 10 to 15-year career. In esports and or esports in general, you generally have maybe a 5-year career if you're good enough, and you have like after 3 years, about when you're like 24, 25, you're out of your prime. You're in your prime when you're like 16. You're maybe like 15 to 20. That's your technical prime.
Hmm.
Like 15 to 7, like about 15 to 18, I would say is probably when you're at your best mechanically, like you're good at controlling your character. And then you probably learn the game around 20, and so you have that mix. But then you start getting into 23, 24, and you just that small amount of reaction time is just you lose it, and that's enough to just make you not a good player anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's also an issue of, right now League is popular, but what if in 6 months, for whatever reason, Dota 2 exploded, and it became like they've, 6 times as many viewers on Twitch all of a sudden, and you're really good at League and you suck at Dota 2, you're just all right. I guess I'm done. Whereas in like football, it's like there's not going to be a huge competitive football all of a sudden. There's soccer or football in Europe, but they coexist more and they're all established. Whereas like it's still like the Wild West in video games because like you never know when something like 3 times as big as your game just might come out in 6 months.
Well, games don't generally disappear.
No,
Um,
not disappear, but I mean, like won't have the same fervor, so not as nearly as many esports people will be hired to play the games. I mean,
yeah.
it's all
So
based
so
on viewership. If they don't have the viewers, they're not going to get hired.
so the best example to that would easily be StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
StarCraft 2 was probably the first of the burst of esports within this recent time period. Fighting
Hmm.
games have been doing it at a similar time, but I think even fighting games got a burst because of StarCraft 2, to be honest. And and StarCraft 2, is a big game is because it had this major background of Brood War being a game from '98 being a very popular competitive game in Korea and even to an extent worldwide. And so StarCraft 2 blasted into the scene. It was built to be a competitive game,
Hmm.
and so it became big. But now StarCraft 2 is dying very quickly thanks to
Yeah.
Dota and League of Legends. And
Hmm.
now they have tournaments that are pushing it, but now they're probably more similar to the fighting game community where they get their big streams every. I don't even know if they get a big stream as fighting games to be honest, but they still have their little niche and they're still there. They're still pro players, but it's definitely a lot harder. Like some of the pro players, the personalities especially, like they're moving on. They're not necessarily moving on, but they're playing different games. Like one of the popular players, his name was In Control. He was a Brood War player and a StarCraft 2 player. He's never one of the best, but he was a good player in Brood War especially. And now, like, he was a guy that I swear would have never played anything but StarCraft. And everything I heard him talk about, like, he was kind of unknown about. Like, he didn't really play other games and stuff like that. But now, when he streams, I think he sometimes plays other games like Dark Souls or any other game like that. And people are in StarCraft 2, the fans are like, no, don't leave us and stuff like that. I mean, I was a big StarCraft 2 fan, but I left it, and honestly that's because I didn't like StarCraft 2 as much as I liked Brood War.
Hmm.
If Brood War actually came on, I would probably watch that over StarCraft 2. There's just something about Brood War that StarCraft 2 could not capture. And yeah, so I mean, that's also another scary thing. Like, there's so many scary things about esports. I think for pro players, that's why pro players are like, these little kids, these young kids like 17, are saying like, I'm good at this game. Should I go pro? What should I do? A lot of pro players will honestly tell you like, stay in school.
Can't go get a real job.
Yeah, like I mean, League of Legends is now getting stable enough though where I don't think it's even if you do go off of school for a year or two, they're like that's completely worth it. Like
Yeah.
because it's also a big experience. Like being this guy that just played video games and now you have fans and you have people cheering for you. You go to a big stadium and people are chanting your name like you're Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or basketball stars is that's who I was
I
mentioning.
was gonna say those basketball stars.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I actually knew those people.
Chanting like it's just amazing. Like if you look up the League of Legends World Championship season 3, they filled up the Staples Center, and that is such a cool fact. And like if I don't know if you've ever stood in front of just like a play or something like just in front of a crowd, it's crazy the kind of rush you get and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
think that's where a lot of pro players are like, especially in League of Legends at least, they're like, maybe it is worth it. Like it's not quite stable yet. Don't quit. Especially high school. Finish high school, but
Oh yeah.
it may be worth it because people are not finishing college or they're finishing it later and stuff like that already. So it may be a good idea to take a year or two off or whatever,
Hmm.
and just to explore it. And maybe you and because now esports is also creating things past being a player. Now you can become a caster. Now you can become a coach. Now you can just get into the scene in general, like being behind the scenes. Before that was is you're a player or you're not. And now it's growing to be more and more Dota, League of Legends, and yeah, there's more to be had in esports now, and I like it.
Yeah. I
Anything
think it's
else?
cool. I think that's about it. I was mostly curious to hear what you said, what you thought about it, because I had just been thinking about it and kind of wondering how, someone who actively watches both sports and esports and kind of how it makes you feel about it. I
Yeah,
think it's fascinating.
the volatility is definitely something that makes the game a lot more fun. Like
Hmm.
season 3 and season 4 of League of Legends is different. Se- Season whatever 40 and season 45 of football exact same. I mean,
Yeah.
you get new players, but Also, it doesn't help that I'm a Vikings fan and the Vikings have not won a Super Bowl in, since their beginning.
Where,
So it's just
where?
disappointing. So it's like, whatever. When they get to the Super Bowl, I'll watch that. I mean, I watch the Super Bowl anyways, but I'll
Yeah,
be interested in it when they actually
you'll
make it.
actually care.
Yeah. And last but not least, we want to finish on something that may not necessarily be gaming talk, but just wanted to have the last few minutes and have our finishing thoughts, basically. And go ahead, go first, Corey.
Okay, well, mine is video game related because I have a box on my desk that says "No One Lives Forever 2: A Spy in Harm's Way." It's a video game from 2002, I think, something like that. It's pre Half-Life 2. It's I think it was like early 2000s. I remembered it recently. It's a lot of fun. It's sort of like oh, what's a stupid comedy with Mike Myers?
Shrek.
No, the '60s era like spy one.
Oh,
Um, the spy
oh,
who shagged me and
Austin.
stuff. What's it's Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. There you go. I knew it
It's
was
I
something
would
Austin.
say it's like vaguely similar to that. It's not. I mean, it's silly, but it's different silly than that. I don't. I like it. I like the humor better in this than Austin Powers personally. But it's a really solid first person shooter. I mean, it got like 9 out of 10 on most gaming sites when it came out. I just booted it up recently. It's if you want the first person shooter that's fun and funny and good, and there's a lot of Asian themed levels. You like that, Ryan? Well, it's just a lot of fun. So that's my thing for today.
What console? PC?
Console. Oh yeah, it's a PC game. I think it was on an Xbox 2 and I don't know what happened there.
Xbox
Um,
2?
let's see. Almost River 2
I mean,
platforms.
could people find it in a certain way, or
Go to Amazon and order it.
okay,
That's what I did. Let's see, it's like $10. 13.97 with Amazon Prime shipping. So
okay,
order it today. It's weird they sell new copies of it still.
really?
Yeah, I
I
was
guess
really
it's
weirded out. Well, it's like I think someone got the rights to like repackage and sell it because it's like best value medallion edition. Like it's really
um,
weird. Like it was Sierra Monolith. So like yeah, I don't know who has the rights to this stuff now. Um like a lot of people have been wanting a sequel, but I doubt that'll ever happen.
okay. Anything else? You're done.
I think that's it.
So mine is not gaming related.
What?
It's not really anything specific, kind of. I just finished an anime. Um, I've been watching animes a lot more recently, and I finished one. And animes are generally like they're not like American TV where they try to go as long as possible, or even like Breaking Bad's like they're gonna end on a high note, season 5 or technically season 6 or whatever. Anime will end 13, 24 episodes. Like that's a very common thing, and like that's so different to me because like that's not my type of watching stuff. I do like when things go on.
Yeah.
I don't get tired of things very often. I mean, I still watch Psych and How I Met Your Mother go to
I
sleep.
I was thinking of Psych as you were saying that.
And so I finished this anime. I was liking it a lot. Like I was gonna have a big list of anime, and I was gonna watch like one episode per, and then I end up watching multiple because like I'll watch it and go, oh, I want to see what happens next, and so like I was just thinking like, to me it kind of sucks uh, that it ends, but at the same time I understand it. I understand that shows do tend to get worse. Like Scrubs was another one I watched a lot of, and I don't know if I would say like only the first two seasons were good, but I think if I rewatched season 6 and 7 or something like that, I probably wouldn't like it as much. And there's probably multiple reasons. Like I don't even know if it's necessarily people get bad at writing or they run out of ideas. I think it's just as things go on, people get tired of them. And so I mean, like either you keep it the same formula and people get bored of it, or you change it up and people go, well, where was the show that I liked, you know? And so
Yeah.
anime, they end it, and it's cool, but at the same time, it's just like I kind of want more. It's like, and I don't know like how I feel about that. You know what I mean? Like I know you're someone who gets tired of things very often, but what would you say is like your perfect amount of episodes? Like I understand like there's different how different stories and stuff like that, but just
Yeah,
like
no, I like you said with like Breaking Bad, I thought that was perfect for it because, like you said, it's like it ended at its prime. It didn't wait until the ratings dropped, kind of thing. Whereas like Soul Eater was it wasn't a super short anime, but it was only like 2 seasons, I believe. Let's see. So like when that was over, I was like, "What? It's over already? What the heck? Like I want
yeah,
more of this."
yeah,
So I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Like there's definitely a balance, because I definitely don't like it. Like Psych, like I haven't watched Psych in a while because it's just like I don't know. It's just I like those guys, but it's just the jokes kind of the tropes of the show kind of wear thin after a while. The same with like Castle. Like I
hmm
really like Nathan Fillion and he's funny, but it's like that can only be interesting so long, you know?
yeah. It's always weird. Like, so do you like a good ending, or would you rather have it where it's like, so let's say it's going on let's say season 4, you kind of get tired of it, right?
Hmm.
So now you're kind of feeling like, oh, so they say, oh, season 5 is coming out. Like, would you rather them do that, or would you rather have them ended at season 3? Like, would you rather get tired of it and then it ends and it's like, okay, or would you rather have them finish it maybe right before you would get tired of it? Like, but you don't know that.
I mean, that's yeah, it's hard to say,
Yeah,
but I it's hard to say, but sometimes, okay, like trying to think of show where
House.
they did that. I've seen House, but I've not actively watched all of House kind of thing. Like what's that?
Adventure
It's
Time.
I just started watching that, but,
Yes, and you're
um,
obsessed with it.
and it's like still on the air. What's that stupid? It's the Eureka.
Okay.
Eureka kind of did that. It's like kind of fizzled out and then came back for last season and like just like really like why even bother at this
But
point?
it
I
was
don't
only
know.
one more season.
Yeah.
Like House kind of did that with me. I generally my dad was the one that loved House, and so I watched it with him and I enjoyed it. But it started to get to this point where it's like House is he was literally the same character throughout the whole thing, the whole 9 seasons,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a gimmicky characteristic to be honest. But
Hmm.
if you like it and stuff, it's good. But at that point, it was starting to get a little boring to me. Like it wasn't getting bad to me. I guess it's I reason I like it is if it goes above what I like, and then it ends is because when that happens, I don't necessarily hate it or get bored of it or think it's bad. I just stop watching it, and so then when it ends, I can go, oh, I'll finish it off and I'm done. Bang bang boom. Like House was the exact same way where it's like season 7 or something like that. I started to get tired of it. I was like, whatever. But I still watched it. I had some parts that maybe was funny or parts I liked specifically. But then when it finally ended, I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm happy with this ending. I'm not going like I want more. And then I
Yeah.
realize that I don't want it to end there and then realize like, oh, one season later I don't like it anymore or whatever. I would rather know that, I guess, because I don't know. I guess that's just my opinion of it.
Wait, you want to know what?
I want to know that I want it to end after I'm done with it, basically. I mean, if it could time it where it ends when I'm getting tired of it, then yeah, that's great. But
What?
if
It's such
I'm,
a weird thing.
yeah, it'd be nice if that would be the perfect thing, right? But if it
Yeah.
ends like after I'm done with it, as long as it's not like 5 more seasons after it,
Hmm.
which don't generally happen because I don't get tired as quickly. I That's my preferred way rather than it ending with me wanting more.
Yeah.
If
I
that
guess
makes sense.
one of the only shows where I was completely satisfied was Breaking Bad, just because it told enough of the story, it wrapped it all up, and it's done. There's no like, well, maybe there's like no, it's done. It is complete. Um, Whereas other shows, like Twin Peaks, the ending is like the worst ending of all time. Just like what? um,
Oh,
Trying to think of other shows where the ending was either good or bad. Trying to think.
oh god, I had a theory, like a this. Oh, so people get bored of shows, right? That's almost very common.
Yeah.
Uh, this is just a question. I don't think there's any way to prove it. Do you think, like, so I'm not sure, but most shows when they're done, they get written season by season, right? Like they don't
Hmm.
write 5 seasons worth and then shoot 5 seasons over 5 years.
Oh yeah, no way.
They do it per season, right?
Hmm.
I wonder if they actually did do that. Like I feel like Breaking Bad probably worked really well was because it had a story it wanted to tell, and
Hmm.
they probably wrote it kind of like that. I
Yeah.
wonder though if a show decided so like people might use the excuse of like, oh, they're bad writers now, their new writers came on and they're not as good. Maybe the guy got bored of it. But what if a guy wrote, let's say, 5 seasons of a show, or we'll say even 7 seasons because that's kind of long, right? They wrote 7 seasons of a show, 20 episodes or something like that, and then uh, they just filmed it per season. But that writing was done all in 2002 or 2007 or whatever. Do
Hmm.
you think that would be better than if that guy had wrote each season one at a time per year? You know what I mean?
Um, as long as if he's a really good writer, then sure. I mean, because you can tell a more you tell the story without because in most shows there's not one writer.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like over the course of the show, like if you look up The Walking Dead writing staff, it's probably like 30 people.
Psych has a new writer like every other
Yeah,
every
exactly.
other
So I
episode.
mean that's why shows are often so inconsistent because you don't have the same people even writing, let alone directing each episode.
Yeah, I just always wondered that because it's like I wonder if it's the perception of time, or the misperception of time that makes people feel like they're getting worse, but it's just a matter of fact of, is it that a fact of the show actually getting worse, or is it people getting tired of it and maybe not getting what they expect anymore? Because like
Mm.
Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I finished that recently. I think that was a pretty like that had a full story it wanted to tell, and it told it, and so I thought it was really good. But the ending, so I was enjoying it, every single part of it. I felt like it kind of wrote like what I would write in it. But then the ending had one little part that was very very minute that didn't happen the way I would have wrote it, and it bugged me.
Oh.
And it's just like I don't know if this, maybe over time I just found something I didn't like about it. I don't know exactly why it happened that way or what. I don't know. I loved it until that moment, and I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I need to watch that one.
It's good. It's really good. I
Did you watch
recommend
the
that.
original?
No. Well, I watched part of the original. I
Okay.
watched like when I was on Adult Swim. I watched it every so
The
often.
end of that one is really depressing.
The end of Brotherhood's actually happy, so I wonder what the difference is.
I think they strayed from the manga in this one.
In which one?
In
The original?
original.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I should look up the ending for the original.
Yeah, you should.
I mean, maybe it's the. I mean, there's sad parts to it, but overall, like that's actually why I liked Brotherhood. I'm generally someone that says like, don't end it bittersweet. Just, I like bittersweet moments, but I want it to end happy.
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know.
you will not like the original one then.
I mean, to be fair, like Full Metal Alchemist kind of, it's like I'm actually surprised Brotherhood ended happy. Like to be
Yeah.
that show is built to like it's like if you are any optimistic, you are setting yourself for failure.
Yeah.
Anyways, my part kind of went on long, but I'm done.
Okay.
So yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. It's this one's a lot longer than we thought. I think the headlines and even the what was it the discussion or the theoretical discussion went on a little longer than we anticipated. But I think we had fun with it. Did you have fun, Corey?
I had loads of fun.
Despite the numerous problems with our recording system, it works though. I mean, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Next episode, this one should be coming out on the 7th, and the one after that will be the 21st, and I think we'll be recording an episode then. And until then, I guess we'll see you guys there. Adios.
See ya.